The most honest conversations you'll ever have are the ones people never say out loud. They're spoken in the sudden silences, in the compliments that feel like attacks, in the virtues people proclaim the loudest because they secretly fear their absence the most. We spend our lives surrounded by signals drowning in data, yet we remain blind to the real story. We feel the dissonance, that gut-level certainty that the reality being presented is a performance, a script. But what if you could read the script? This is not another video about cheap manipulation tactics or pop psychology tricks to read body language. That's for amateurs. That is surface-level programming. We are going deeper. We're here to learn how to read the source code of human behavior, to see the hidden architecture of the psyche that runs beneath every interaction, every ambition, and every fear you will ever encounter. This isn't a weapon to dominate others. It is the key to unlock your own cage. To do this, we will embark on a three-part journey into the human algorithm. First, we will deconstruct the mask, the persona. This isn't just a lie. It's a piece of survival armor forged in the fires of social judgment. We'll learn to recognize its material, its weight, and its purpose. Second, we will expose the cracks. These are the glitches in the system. The involuntary tells the emotional leaks, the moments when the mask slips, and the raw, unfiltered truth bleeds through. This is where the detective work begins. And finally, we will descend to the origin point, the core code, the ghost in the machine. This is the foundational wound, the primary fear around which the entire fortress of personality has been built. This process will change how you see everyone. But the true transformation happens when you turn this lens on yourself, when you finally begin to debug your own programming. This is your warning and your invitation. What follows is not comfortable. It requires the courage to see reality without anesthetic. So if you are ready to move from being a character in someone else's story to becoming the architect of your own mind, commit to this journey. Stay to the end. The clarity is worth the descent. The scene begins. The tone shifts from the broad, high-level introduction to a more focused analytical mode. The pace is deliberate, as if revealing the first layer of a complex machine. So let's begin. Part 1. The armor we forge. The first mistake we make is calling it a mask. That word implies a simple lie, a flimsy piece of plastic held up to deceive. The truth is far more complex and far more tragic. This isn't plastic, it's armor. Full-plate armor forged in the fires of social pressure, tempered by the fear of rejection, and polished daily with the desperate need to belong. It is not an act of deception. It is an act of survival. This is our first concept, the performance of safety. The mask isn't fake. It's a strategy. Think of the overly agreeable manager in a corporate meeting. His constant nodding, his relentless yes. Great point isn't a sign of weakness. It's a calculated shield against conflict, a role he learned to play because somewhere in his past disagreement meant danger. Think of the first date, where both people present a curated highlight reel of their lives. They aren't lying. They are performing a version of themselves they believe is worthy of acceptance, worthy of safety. Each performance is a hypothesis. If I am this, will you accept me? Will you not hurt me? Every "I'm fine" is a shield raised. Every forced smile is a parry. This isn't about hiding who you are. It's about protecting a fragile core that has learned the world is a battlefield. It is a strategy to navigate a reality built on judgment. So how do you begin to see this armor in others? Here is where the alchemy becomes uncomfortable. You don't start by looking at them. You start by looking in a mirror. This leads to our second concept, the echo of judgment. The things you violently despise in someone else, the arrogance, the weakness, the perceived phoniness, are almost always the very traits you have disowned and exiled from your own self. They are psychological phantom limbs. You cut them off because they were deemed unacceptable by your family, your culture, or your own inner critic, but you can still feel them ache when you see them on someone else. The person who rails against sellouts is often mourning their own abandoned artistic dreams. The one who cannot stand needy people is often terrified of their own deep-seated need for connection. Their loud judgment is not an observation. It is a confession. It is the scream of a part of you that you buried alive. Because, and you must internalize this, We are terrified by the mirrors we find in others. That person you judge so harshly isn't your enemy. They are an unwilling messenger showing you the map to your own disowned territory. This brings us to the most sophisticated and the most dangerous piece of armor you will ever encounter: the tyranny of virtue. This is the armor of the hollow saint. The person who broadcasts their morality, their compassion, their political righteousness from the highest tower. Their social media is a monument to their own goodness. Their conversations are lectures on what is right and wrong. Beware. True virtue is quiet. It is lived, not proclaimed. The loud performance of morality is rarely about ethics. It's about power. By painting the world in stark black and white, they appoint themselves the sole arbiter of the light. This moral certainty becomes a weapon used to elevate themselves and to humiliate or control others. Their virtue is a fortress built to hide a profound insecurity or a lust for domination. A crown worn to hide a cracking skull. Look past the righteous words. Look at who benefits from their crusade. The answer is almost always the saint themselves. So the armor is real. The reflections are terrifying. The saints are hollow. What do? Your first tool is not a weapon. It is a stethoscope. You must learn to listen differently. From now on, your mission is to observe tension points. Not arguments, not conflicts, but the subtle, almost invisible moments of friction in a conversation. The moment a topic is changed too quickly. The joke that lands with a nervous laugh instead of a genuine one. The compliment that feels more like a calculation than a kindness. The sudden shift in posture when a certain name is mentioned. These are the stress fractures in the armor. They are faint, but they are always there. They are the first hint that the smooth, polished surface is under immense pressure from within. And these fractures, they are the entry point to our next layer of perception. They are the cracks in the code. So we have arrived at the source, from the armor of the mask forged for survival, through the involuntary cracks where truth escapes, to the very ghost in the machine, the core code, the original wound that dictates the entire system. But I must give you one final critical warning. This power, this ability to see, was never meant to be a weapon. It was meant to be a mirror. Every defense you decoded in another is a map to a fortress within yourself. Every judgment they cast is an echo of a voice you've long tried to silence. This journey was never about learning to dissect other people. It was about gathering the tools to perform surgery on your own soul. It was never about judging them. It was about liberating yourself. Remember, our core principle, true perception, is not a tool to control the world, but the key to unlock your own cage. It is the permission you grant yourself to stop reacting and start creating, to finally debug the ancient programming, and choose, perhaps for the first time, an authentic existence over a conditioned one. The journey from seeing to being starts now, with one conscious choice. So I ask you for an act of radical honesty. In the comments below, share not what you saw in others, but what you finally recognized in yourself. Let's build a space of truth where we can put down the armor together. Subscribe and become the architect of your own mind.